Hi everyone, welcome to this topic, port numbers. The first point is TCP and UDP port numbers. There are many services that we access through the internet in the course of the day. DNS, web, email, FTP, and so on are just some of the services that are provided by client-server system around the world. This service may be provided by a single server or by several servers in a large data center. When a message is delivered using either TCP or UDP, the protocol and service required are identified by a port number, as shown in the figure. A port is a numerical identifier within each segment that is used to keep track of a specific conversation between a client and server. Every message that a host sends contains both a source and destination port. In the image we can see in the left side is client, in the right side is the server. And we have four layers: network access, internet, transport, and application layer. And we can see IP, internet protocol, transport layer, transport control protocol, and this is the service in the port 802553, for example. Okay. When a message is received by a server, it's necessary for the server to be able to determine which service is being required by the client. Clients are preconfigured to use a destination port that is registered on the Internet for each service. An example of these web browser clients, which are preconfigured to send requests to web server using port 80, the well-known port for HTTP web service. Ports are assigned and managed by an organization known as the Internet Corporation for assigned names and numbers. Ports are broken into three categories and range in number from 1 to 53,535. Okay, this is important, the name of the corporation. And the first point is well-known port. Destination ports that are associated with common network applications are identified as well-known ports. The ports are in the range of 1 to 1023. The next point in these categories is registered ports. Ports to 1024 through 49,151 can be used as either source or destination port. This can be used by organizations to register a specific application, such as IM application. And the last point in these categories is private ports. Ports 49,152 through 65,535 are often used as source port. This port can be used by any application. The table displays some common well-known port number and their associated application. Okay, port number, transport, and application protocol. Okay, for example, in the port 20 is in the layer transport TCP and application protocol file transfer protocol data. Uh, Security shell, telnet, SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol, domain name service, and so on. Some applications may use both TCP and UDP. For example, DNS uses UDP when clients send packets to a DNS server, However, communication between two DNS servers always use TCP. Search the IANA website for port register to view the full list of ports number and associated application. The next important point is socket pairs. The source and destination port are placed within the segment. The segments are then encapsulated within an IP packet. The IP packet contains the IP address of the source and destination. The combination of the source IP address and source port number of the destination IP address and destination port number is known as a socket. In the example in the figure, the PC is simultaneously requesting FTP and web service from the destination server. Okay, FTP connection, file transfer protocol connection. Uh, this there's MAC, source IP, destination IP, and source port, destination port, user data, trailer. FTP client source port, okay, is this. Web client source port, okay. Simultaneously, FTP connection and web connection. Okay, okay. This is the source IP address and MAC address of the source, and this is the information of the destination host. In the example, the FTP requests generated by the PC include the layer 2 MAC address and the layer 3 IP address. The request also identifies the source port number 1003 or 5 dynamically generated by the host and destination port, identifying the FTP service on the port 21. The host also has required a web page from the server using the same layer 2 and layer 3 addresses. However, it's using the source port number 1099 dynamically generated by the host and destination port identifying the web service on port 80. The socket is used to identify the server and service being required by the client. A client socket might look like this, with 1099 representing the source port number in this form. Okay, with the direction IP of the source and source port. The socket on a web server may be in this form. Okay. Together, these two sockets combine to form a socket pair. Sockets enable multiple processes running on a client to distinguish themselves from each other and multiple connections to a server process to be distinguished from each other. The source port number acts as a return address for the requesting application. The transport layer keeps track of this port. The transport layer keeps track of this port and the application that initiate the request so that when a response is returned, it can be forwarded to the correct application. The netstat command, unexplained TCP connection, can pose a major security threat. They can indicate that something or someone is connected to the local host. Sometimes it's necessary to know which active TCP connections are off or are open and running on a network host. Netstat is an important network utility that can be used to verify those connections. As shown below, enter the command netstat to list the protocols in use, the local address and ports number, the foreign address and port numbers, and the connection state. And netstat, active connection, protocol, local address, foreign address, state. By default, the netstat command will attempt to resolve IP address to domain names and port numbers to well-known application. The end option can be used to display IP addresses and ports number in their numerical form. Finish. Check your understanding port numbers. Question 1. Assume a host with IP address wants to request web service from a server at this address. Which of the following will display the correct socket pair? Okay, is the no, okay, okay, okay. That's right. The socket pair for a host will IP address requesting web service from a server at this address will be okay in this form. Question 2. Which port group include port numbers for FTP, HTTP, and TFTP application, dynamic ports, private ports, well-known ports? That's right. Application port numbers are defined in the well-known port number group. Question 3. Which window command will display the protocols in use? Netstat. The local address and ports number, the foreign address and port numbers, and the connection state. That's right, the netstat Windows command will display protocols in use, the local address and port number, the foreign address and the port numbers, and the connection state. Finish with TCP and UDP Summary. What did I learn in this module? TCP and UDP. UDP is a best effort delivery system that does not require acknowledgement of receipt. UDP is preferable with applications such as streaming audio and VoIP IP. Acknowledgements will slow down delivery and retransmission are undesirable. Packets take a path from the source to a destination. A few packets may be lost, but it's usually not noticeable. TCP packets take a path from the source to the destination; however, each of the packets has a sequence number. TCP breaks up a message into small pieces known as segments. The segments are numbered in a sequence and passed to the IP process for assembly into packets. TCP keeps track of the number of segments that have been sent to a specific host from a specific application. If the sender does not receive an acknowledgement within a certain period of time, it assumes that the segment were lost and retransmits them. Only the portion of the segment that is lost is sent, not the entire message. And the last tab is port numbers. When a message is delivered using either TCP or UDP, the protocol and service requests are identified by a port number. A port is a numerical identifier within each segment that is used to keep track of a specific conversation between client and server. Every message that a host sends contains both a source and destination port. When a message is received by a server, it's necessary for the server to be able to determine which service is being required by the client. Clients are pre-configured to use a destination port that is registered on the Internet for each service. Ports are assigned and managed by organizations known as the this organization. Ports are broken into three categories and range in the number from 1 to 65,535. The first category is well-known port destination ports that are associated with common network application. The next is registered ports is in this range, can be used as either source or destination ports. And the last point is private ports and go to this rate from 49,152 through 55,530 are often used as source port. The source port number is dynamically generated by the sending device to identify a conversation between two devices. This process allows multiple conversations to occur simultaneously. It's common for a device to send multiple HTTP service requests to a web server at the same time. Each separate HTTP conversation is tracked based on the source port. The client places a destination port number in the segment to tell the destination server that service is being requested. A server can often more than one service simultaneously, such as a web server on port 80 at the same time that is offers FTP connection establishment on port 21. Unexplained TCP connection can pose a major security threat. They can indicate that something or someone is connected to the local host. Sometimes it's necessary to know which active TCP connections are open and running on a network host. Netstat is an important network utility that can be used to verify those connections. The command netstat is used to list the protocols in use, the local address and port number, the foreign address and the port number, and the connection state. Webster reflection question. I once ordered some furniture from one of those online stores. It was sent to me in three different boxes over the span of 2 weeks. I was not worried that any time was missing because I received email updates that detailed the location of each box along its route from the store to my home. That explains its like TCP. Along the road, there are built-in checks to ensure that what needs to deliver it gets delivered, and in the right order. There is still a need for UDP networking. I will not enjoy streaming a movie where it is stuck 2 minutes at a time waiting for the network to send the next scene. And can you think of a good analogy for UDP? TCP and UDP Quiz. Question 1. Which protocol operates as the application layer of the TCP/IP model? Which protocol operates at the application layer? In the application layer is HTTP. Question 2. What is the characteristic of UDP? It establishes session with a three ways. No. It uses sequence number. No. It adds 20 bytes. No. It provides unreliable delivery of segments. Okay. Question 3. Which type of application are best suited to use UDP as a transport layer protocol? Application that require flow control. Application that require data to be reassembled in a specific order, application that require minimal transmission delay, application that require stateful sessions. Okay. Question 4. A student is sending files from a phone to a computer across the network. Which layer of the TCP/IP model is responsible for resembling this message as they can receive on the computer? Which layer is responsible for resembling? Okay. Transport or application? I don't know. I say transport. Question 5. At which layer of the TCP/IP model does TCP operates? Transport. Question 6. What protocol header information is used at the transport layer to identify a target application? What protocol? Port. What protocol header information is used at the transport layer to identify a target? Question 7. What type of port number is assigned by IANA to commonly use? Okay. Question A. What is the purpose of using a source port in a TCP communication? To notify the remote device that our conversation is over, to assemble the segments that arrive out of order. Question 9. What is an advantage of UDP over TCP? Communication is more reliable, reorder, acknowledgement, receive data. Okay, question 10. When is UDP preferred to TCP? When a client sends a message to server, when all the data must be full received, when an application can tolerate some loss. Okay, question 11. Which statement correctly describes data transmission and the transport layer? Retransmission of lost packets is provided by no. Segmentation is provided by the window size field when the TCP protocol is used. A single datagram can include both. Okay, use port number. Segmentation is provided by sequence number when UDP. Segmentation is provided by the window size field when the TCP protocol is used. Okay. Okay, 91%. You have score. Congratulations, you have passed the test. Okay, this is all for this. See you in the next one. Bye.